Hey everybody, welcome to Horror Madness with Dana and Deb. Tonight we're going to talk about the drone situation over New Jersey.
No, we're not. Dana, shut up.
We're not. But
No, tonight we're going to talk about the
the
Mutilator.
Mutilator. Oh, you mean the greatest? I don't even know what to say. It's not a disaster. It's not a bad movie. Everyone fucking loves it. You can't watch the Mutilator without being like, "Duh, it's one of the best things I ever saw."
Facts.
There's so many issues.
So many.
And I think they're all worth it. They're all worth it. All the crazy, weirdo, strange issues with Mutilator, they're worth it because when you finish it, you're going to spend the whole movie. You're going to spend the whole movie just being like, "That's stupid. What? That doesn't even make sense. Oh my God, what is that?" And then when it's over, you're going to be like, "You know what? I love The Mutilator. That's like probably one of the best movies I've ever seen." And
It is.
if you have seen it, I don't think I've ever heard anyone say they don't love The Mutilator. I don't think I've ever heard that word come out of anyone's mouth.
No,
ever.
it hasn't.
Is it a great movie? No. Is it a crazy movie? Yes. Is it madness? Oh yeah,
Is it horror? Yes.
Oh, it's horror. It's horror. It's super. It's gore filled. It is.
It is great. It is wonderful. It is directed by Buddy Cooper.
Oh my God, we got to meet Buddy Cooper.
It is
It's right
starring.
here. I got worried for a second because I was like, oh my God, do we not?
No, I'll post a picture as
do we
well.
not have the thing. You got to post all the pictures. But for anybody watching us live, this isn't actually live. One day it will be. This is my signed copy.
A Fall Break.
Signed by Buddy Cooper of the movie Fall Break.
Which is the working title for this movie.
Ooh, it's not just the working title. It's the title till the end of days, and I'm not sure.
I don't know when they changed it. I don't know why they changed it.
So, in the special features, there's an alternative title sequence that is like, what was it, like 4 minutes and 45
It is the
seconds long?
identical sequence.
It's exactly the same. The only difference is it actually says The Mutilator. But like the only way you can't, it's only in an alternative special features thing that it says The Mutilator. There's no difference otherwise.
They could have just used that in the movie.
The actual release, you can't actually watch The Mutilator without seeing that it's called Fall Break. So Mutilator 2 exists.
You're wearing a hat for it. It has to exist. I was looking at your hat because it's on your head.
Oh, I'm wearing a Mutilator 2 hat, which also, let's not forget,
Bought from Buddy Cooper.
Barely differentiate the two from the one because they just put a little bar on the bottom of the one, which I think is cool as hell, and I'm totally down with it.
It's amazing.
But also, like, it's the exact same logo. There's just a bar across the bottom.
To make it a 2.
I bought this hat and that record from Buddy Cooper himself. He was an amazing person. It's crazy. Let's just tell. We're not doing a breakdown. We're talking about it. We're talking about it.
So
We're gonna
let's
try
talk
this.
about
This is
Buddy Cooper.
Our first attempt to not do a breakdown and just talk about a movie. So, at random, we were going to a horror convention and we watch
The Mutilator.
Unbelievable amount of movies a day.
Yes, we do. It's
like
ridiculous.
a ridiculous amount of movies.
It's
just
ridiculous. Yeah.
Like 2-3 movies a day is just like a regular day for us.
Yeah, we like movies.
Yeah, that's why we're here. That's why we're doing podcasts.
We like
going to
movies.
Conventions. So, no shit, there we are.
There
we had just watched Mutilator. And it could have been because, but I don't think it was because Buddy Cooper was going to be.
No, it wasn't because we didn't know Buddy Cooper was going to be there.
We just know who he was or anything about the Mutilator.
We found a random movie and we were like, oh, this looks like a movie we should watch.
Yeah, like almost definitely on Tubi, and it was just like a random movie. And then we got to Mad Monster years
And,
ago,
and
3 years ago, 3 4 years ago.
it was our first.
It
So
was our first, yeah, it was our
2022.
first convention, yeah.
2022.
Yeah, and right now it's 2029, and there's drones
It's
attacking our life.
anyway. It was a 2022 Mad Monster.
So no shit, there we are, Mad Monster. I see Buddy Cooper, and I'm like,
I was
I don't
buying
know.
boxing Helena.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
he was
was
next to There's
He
this
was
dude.
next to the DVD booth. I was over there looking
There
for
was this
boxing
dude
Helena.
selling DVDs that like 99.9 of the percent of them can just be screamed, but screamed. That's
Streamed.
why we're physical media people. So I was like, bro, what you got that like you can't just get? And I think every single thing that we got from him that night is streaming right now.
I was looking for boxing Helena, and you found Buddy Cooper.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, that's Buddy Cooper, the dude who directed The Mutilator. Like, that's Buddy freaking Cooper. And like, no shit, it was like our first horror convention. It was our first, like, we had been all drinking,
A
but
little bit.
we got there. We had been there for hours. Like, we had built up to this point. We hadn't even been in the, like, the room where the famous people in the dealer's room is what we call it at big conventions. So anyway, there's Buddy Cooper. I know that Buddy Cooper is an amazing person. He kept screaming at me that he couldn't hear that well. And I kept screaming back at him, and he was super cool. Every second of talking to him, and like everything I said, I had to say like 5 times. But it was loud, and he couldn't hear that well, and that's all. That's cool. That's fine. Like, life
Also,
happens.
this movie, the script may not have been well written. The
No.
story.
I don't know.
The story is a good story. The kid with his shitty
man.
dad.
Oh man.
And he goes to the story is a well written story. The script.
Nothing's good. But all that matters is that you can't watch this movie and not end
love it.
with being like, "Holy God, I love this movie." It was a train wreck. Everything in it is insane and makes no sense, and I love this movie with all my heart and soul.
From the opening scene, nothing makes sense.
Oh no, I mean there's not a second. So it opens like it's a sitcom.
Which I kind of love. I love.
I'm totally down with.
I get it. I love it. It's camp. It's beautiful. It's like watching Full House.
It ends more like an 80s sitcom than it literally the whole end credits of Mutilator are like it says a person's name and it's like them smiling at the camera like an 80s sitcom. Like and it's just like everyone was just brutally murdered. Like no one here is even still alive. And two people are still alive. John Bernthal and
It's not actually John Bernthal.
John Bernthal.
That's Matt Midler.
Is that Matt Midler?
Matt Midler and
Who,
Ruth Martinez.
if Bruce Campbell and John Bernthal had a love child, their love child would have been Matt Midler.
Also, Matt Midler is older than both of them, and he is looking good.
Also,
That
like, I
is
don't think he's older than Bruce Campbell. I think Bruce Campbell's
Okay,
older.
well,
Yeah.
that
Bruce
is a good-looking
Oh my God.
man.
There are special features with Matt Midler.
Oh,
like,
he is a
it was
sexy
2015,
old
so
man.
they're it's a little. Oh my God! Like in the movie, he just looks like. I would imagine, if you watch that movie live, you're just been like, oh, he vaguely resembles Bruce Campbell a little bit. But now we have John Bernthal, so like it's just like what is even happening? Like that's a pretty all right looking dude. And then there's the special features that are just like, oh my God, that's an elderly old man, that is just like the hottest elderly old man that
Let me
ever
tell
lived.
you, that old man.
And he's never been in anything else, which is insane.
He was in Dead Time Stories.
If you put a pair of Calvin Klein underwear on that old man,
Oh my gosh.
he'd be on billboards in New York City, and
Matt Mittler.
no one would complain. That everyone, it would be like the biggest social media thing ever. Everyone would be like, "Oh my God, he's like late 60s, early 70s." Yeah, chef's kiss.
Mwah.
Anyway, back on the Mutilator. Also, we're talking.
Yeah, we're just talking, but we got to get back on the movie.
Spoilers and everything.
I don't know how to talk about this without doing a scene breakdown.
The first 15 minutes of this movie, I think I had to pause it twice because
Yes!
I was like, oh my God. Like, there is just so much happening and so much wrong and so much great and so much, what the fuck is going on? None of this makes sense. And like, there were 2 times I had to pause the movie just to be like, hold on. I have to wrap my head around the fact that like foreshadowing happened, but then less than a single second, like milliseconds after foreshadowing happens, the thing happens, and that's not how foreshadowing works. But I was still like, that's foreshadowing. Oh, fuck me. No, that already happened. Oh, shit. They also foreshadowed that, and that's also already happened and over and done with.
This movie's heavy on foreshadowing.
So much foreshadowing. Also, I'm not sure if foreshadowing was understood. The point of foreshadowing is you say something at in Act 1, and it may happen in Act 2, but it's probably gonna happen in Act 3.
They say something and it happens. They're just like 3 seconds later.
And it's like, oh yeah, you want some foreshadowing? Here's a gun. Oh, they're dead. So he cleans his dad's guns.
And looks in the barrel.
The first moment of foreshadowing is when he looks down the barrel of the loaded gun that he's cleaning, and then you're going to immediately be like, oh my God, you don't look down the barrel of the gun that you're cleaning? Never. Oh, his mom's dead. It's like, he looks down the barrel, and in less than a second, his mom's dead.
I don't even understand how he shot her.
Well, he couldn't have, because they show a trigger's pulled.
Even if that was the door to the kitchen, which it wasn't, the door would slow down the velocity of the bullet.
Yeah, I got that in my notes too. So he pulls the trigger. Mom shot. There's
dead.
There's also it clearly goes through a door with a wreath with a giant bow on it.
That's not the same door.
But then the kid immediately runs out a door far to the left of his mom that doesn't have a bullet hole, doesn't have a wreath. She was shot directly in the back. And then he runs out a door directly to her left, so at best he could have shot her like kind of in the arm. Probably would have missed her completely no matter what, because like where the chair is located in the room he was sitting in was also nowhere near the door. So it had to have ricocheted like 9 different times.
How did this even happen? Also, kudos to him for going to college after that.
Kudos to him for so much. Kudos to him for having a great relationship with his dad for what is clearly 40 years. But I think in the movie...
It wasn't that great.
Well, I mean, like, he's like, oh no, my dad called. I have to answer the phone. Oh, guys, let's go to my dad's place. I love my dad.
No, he didn't want to go to his dad. He was like, my dad treated me like the red-headed bastard.
We hadn't even gotten that. But then...
And that dude was not even...
That dude with very brown hair that, like, if you wanted to stretch the...
You couldn't stretch it.
Like, filming colors and stuff and just be like, man, filters and, like, even, like, 80s filters and stuff like it. But, like, he could have been dark blonde. He could have been dirty blonde.
He was straight up a brunette.
There's nothing nothing red about his hair. And he's like, he treated me like a, and the dude points at his hair and he's like,
Hey,
what?
man, what? And
Hey,
he's like,
man.
sorry, dude.
Dude has brown hair. And if he doesn't have brown hair, then he has dirty blonde hair. He does not have red hair. I don't know. I guess maybe the script is originally written
For a redhead.
for a redhead and they couldn't get a redhead. That dude,
Not a redhead.
zero red.
I want to talk for a minute about Big Ed trying to pour liquor down his dead wife's throat.
Yeah. Well, so I thought about that too.
There is so many issues. So nobody calls the police. And I think little Ed went and called the police and cool. But dude's like,
Did he? Or we don't know.
there was cops coming. He ran away and then there was sirens.
Was there?
Yes.
Okay.
No, dude kills his mom and the dad comes home from his job doing job things.
Yeah, business.
Business.
Business job. He works for a business job.
And he doesn't say a word. That kid is like, Mama, Mama. And the dad just
He's
like.
probably an architect. He's probably an architect. It's a movie. Everyone in all movies are
He just like
architects.
shoves him out of the way and is clearly mad. I mean, he just shot his wife. I don't know. I have kids. I love Dana with all my heart and soul. If one of my kids shot him, I'd probably be like, oh my God, are you okay? To my children.
So I feel like it is kind of the wildest scene ever made. So dude just like walks in the house and he's like, look here, you little motherfucker. You just shot your mom, even though that's literally impossible from the gun room that you could have shot your mom. And he just like walks in the house and he's immediately like, you did this. I think if I walked in the house and Deb was laying there shot, I would be like, fuck me, who did this? Our kids are here? Probably not them. Who did this? And my first thing would be like, hey, kid standing next to your mom, who shot your mom? I wouldn't just
Shove them.
immediately be like, you little motherfucker, you killed her. Even though it's literally there's not even room in this room to get behind her to shoot her in the back. I would be like, dude, who shot your mom? Also, to be fair,
I hope you would try to pour vodka down my throat.
right, I would probably,
I mean, just.
once I realized that Deb was like dead, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to pour one out in your mouth while I called 911. I might pour a shot on your face, your dead face. I might do that.
You definitely would, and I hope you
Yeah.
would.
Well, right, if I had one. Like, if I
But
just
then
walked
he
in the house
pins-
from work, I wouldn't, but...
He pins the birthday sign on her. The kid made the sign that said "all cleaned by me," and he pinned it on the dead mom. It's kind of funny. It's horrible,
There's so much wrong with it.
but
Cool. But that's why this is such a good movie, because you can talk about this stuff. That's
You
why it's so
can.
good. That's why everyone loves it so much. It is ridiculous, but also really good, and also
It
really
is.
bad. Is it bad? I don't even think it's bad. I don't think it's bad.
So,
It's just ridiculous, almost nonstop ridiculous.
the 80s sitcom
surreal
music at the
things.
beginning shows it's going to be ridiculous.
Which I don't know if that was meant to happen. I don't know if anything was meant to happen. But I
Fall
think,
Break is one of the best songs in a movie ever.
let's go to the music. The song Fall Break.
Fall Break.
You don't need to have been alive in the 80s. If you were alive in the 80s, you might take offense to this, but if you think about it for a second, you're going to be like, oh no, you're right. 99% of 80s music was horrible, unlistenable garbage. No, there are hundreds of 80s songs that are just like the most banging bangers. There's all the good stuff, there's Depeche Mode, there's Flock of Seagulls, there's all the one-hit wonders. That's when one-hit wonders existed.
The Cure isn't a one-hit
I mean, there was
wonder.
Michael Jackson's, there was Madonna's, there was lots of great music, but the majority of music was unlistenable garbage, and literally no one can even name a band that did the music that was on the radio most of the time.
Facts.
It was awful.
Fall Break.
The song Fall Break falls into that unlistenable garbage category, but is a banger. It is a forgotten song of the 80s that would have been top 10 for 40 weeks from some band nobody ever remembered and nobody ever even knew the name of. It is a banger. It is amazing.
The beginning of that movie with that opening with the kid killing his mom, and it cuts to dude at the bar and they're going to his dad's for a fall break, and that song and that moment was perfect.
Have we talked about how good of actors everybody is?
All the actors in this movie are amazing.
They're super good, and like no one's ever been in anything else, and I don't think that makes any sense.
It doesn't. It really doesn't.
There's a lot of bad acting in this movie.
None of it is by a main character.
I don't. Well, all right. The people in the gas station, they're like bad actors. Like that's terrible.
They're not a main character.
But
They're literally in the movie
also,
for
it's
30
wild.
seconds.
So the entire special features are mostly just them doing the discrimination on young people in the gas station.
Yeah.
Like 90 different ways. And that's literally the only bad scene in the movie. I don't assume. Like, I almost know for a fact, but I can't possibly know for a fact that they were just a couple of local people that were probably the local gas station that was right by where the house is in Atlantic Beach.
Also, everybody in this movie was local people. They are all from Atlantic Beach.
How are they so much better actors than, like, anyone in 90% of anything that's not a AAA horror movie we see?
The way they act that they can't see
Oh my God, it's so
when
good.
it is clearly daylight in the house.
It is ridiculous. It is outrageous. There is so like we watched a YouTube video, and this guy was like, I don't know, maybe it was cleaned up in the DVD.
No.
We saw the first time we saw the Mutilator was the VHS transfer. It was dark as hell. Everything sounded like shit. Everything looked like shit. It was exactly the same. It is very clearly bright ass daylight in that whole
Unless
house.
they had a spotlight outside, but even still, like,
They could see.
They were playing Monopoly, and it's supposed to be nighttime. The kids are walking the beach, and the window, it is clearly daylight. And I get it. This is the very early 80s. They need the light from the windows to shoot. There isn't the technology
So that's
that there
my
is
thing.
today.
Have you seen the movie? What's that Vin Diesel movie?
Pitch Black?
Pitch Black. That is
Yes.
literally pitch black, and it was millions and millions of dollars to not be able to see a single thing. My boy Buddy Cooper said, "No, sir, you're gonna see this scene." And these actors,
They are going to act their asses off like they can't see. Like it is not broad fucking daylight.
also low budget movie, and I love this movie.
I love this
Everyone. I've never heard a human being say they don't love this movie ever.
Me either.
Ever. Is it bad? Yes, it's bad. Is it Buddy Cooper's fault? Yes, it's Buddy Cooper's fault.
Also love
Everyone
Buddy
loves
Cooper.
This movie, and everyone go meet Buddy Cooper. I don't know what he's doing right now. I don't know if he's been to a convention in years at this point.
I
I
mean,
don't think he went to another one after that.
we
That was
haven't seen him since 2022.
he was there for Mutilator 2, which you still can't see. Joe Bob Briggs did an episode of the Mutilator 2. Guess where you can see it? Nowhere. It doesn't exist. It's filmed somewhere out on this planet is an episode of Joe Bob Briggs doing Mutilator 2 that I think he did live in Las Vegas or something for a Halloween special. You can't watch it. You can't watch it. So, no shit. There it was.
I don't know what you're about to say.
Yes, you do. I messaged Buddy Cooper.
Oh!
I messaged Buddy Cooper, and I was like, hey, man, we met you a couple years ago. Loved you. Loved your movie. I just want to see Mutilator 2. And it's like impossible to see Mutilator 2. And I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I love you guys. I'm not going to lie to you. I was hoping, beyond hope, that I was going to send a random message to Buddy Cooper. Because, like, it's been out for, like, a year and a half now, but you can't see it.
Nowhere.
My point was to message Buddy Cooper and hope beyond hope. Buddy Cooper was just like, yeah, bro. Here's Mutilator 2. I just sent it to you on your email. And we were going to watch Mutilator 2, and we were going to review it. I shamelessly begged Buddy Cooper to let me see Mutilator 2. And Buddy Cooper's response was, how many listeners do you have on your podcast? I get requests to be a guest on a podcast all the time. I was like, I didn't ask you to be on the podcast for nothing. We've got
Eventually.
We've got 0 fucking followers. I hope one day everything we're doing right now will be remade again once
yes.
We figure this out and people are actually listening and stuff. That's why we're hitting big dogs early, because we're hitting big dogs early like Scream and Pumpkinhead and Terrifier and stuff, just because like I have all intention that we're gonna record it again in a year or two. And he was just like, grilling me on our podcast, and I was just like, I didn't ask you.
I just want to see Mutilator 2.
I just want to see Mutilator 2. No, I want you on my podcast. I would kill for you
Also,
to be
we
on
are
our
not
podcast.
worthy
Also,
right now.
No, Buddy Cooper, don't be on our podcast right now. We're just drunk idiots talking about
movies we
bullshit.
love.
Our loves and our passions, and we want to get that out to people, but what I want to get out to me is Mutilator 2. So anyway, like after that, I messaged Buddy back. It had been like a solid week because I was just like confused and I didn't know what to do. And I messaged him back and I was just like, yeah, dude, we're not
ready for you. We want you. We're not ready for you.
We're not. I hope one day we are ready for Buddy Cooper. So Mutilator 2, I think, has the greatest setup ever. It can only be hot old man or hot old chick. Right.
It could still be Big Ed because he was chopped in half at the end of the first movie, but he still killed a cop. He was chopped in half and still killed the cop.
There's no way he's going to go that wild with, like, Frankenstein rebuilding and stuff. Like, there's no way. Ed's dead. Ed's dead. Dad's dead.
Movies have been done. Jason came back.
Buddy Cooper didn't have a big enough budget to even consider, unless he just Buddy Coopered it and was like, oh yeah, remember when he got cut in half? He just didn't.
Oh, he clearly did.
He just didn't is the only option. So I think Mutilator 2 has to be a Shyamalan event. But
I think it's going to be Son.
The twist that I'm so waiting for. I'm so excited for the twist of Mutilator 2. The twist is, oh yeah, you know it's the son. Or, oh yeah, you know it's the chick.
Oh, if it's the chick, I would be so happy.
But either which way, I think they will just build it up. The whole movie, this is the perfect Mutilator 2. They build it up the whole fucking time that it is, oh fuck me, I think I just figured out the ending of Mutilator 2. They build it up the whole time that it is clearly either the son or the chick that lived. And the whole movie is just things lead, and then come to find out, it's one of the other people that got killed's dads.
Oh,
fuck! I love you, Buddy Cooper, and that's exactly what the ending is. Even though I don't know that, I do know that. And Shyamalan!
I don't know. I can't wait to see Mutilator 2.
Yeah, me too. And maybe one day we'll re-record this with Buddy Cooper himself.
Giving us some insight, which would be awesome.
So that's a thing that I do. That's a thing that I do a lot. I do a lot of
Guessing?
no, yes, guessing is what a lot of people would call it. But I do a lot of like the Terrifier episode. I don't sometimes I read what directors and writers say their movie is, and I don't care how passionately you want to tell me that this is what the director and writer said. The finished art project doesn't say that.
Which we talked about in the Terrifier
Yeah.
episode is fans create it. Fans create what they want.
And that's the important thing. Like,
that's the beauty of it.
obsessing over what somebody wrote when they were 12 years old and then rewrote again when they were 30 and then got famous and rewrote it again when they were 40. Your own thoughts get lost, and it's a lot of times in horror especially, and just bad B movies that are great, Ed Wood stuff, and like good stuff, the stuff that I love with all my heart and soul. I think a lot of times the finished art project loses their own creator,
Yeah.
and whatever they want to say is their own art project. I think when it diminishes their art, which happens a lot, and I could have been prepared to say that and come up with a lot of very good examples. Sometimes I don't really care what the person that wrote the movie or directed the movie says the movie is, because the movie isn't that to like anyone that's ever watched it, except for like 4 dudes that live in their parents' basement that are on Reddit 24 hours a day, 7
Here's
days
the
a week.
thing. Art is subjective.
Art is
And
subjective.
movies are art, and the fans create it. And a good director is one that lets the fans run with it.
Right. And we're back. We went for a nighttime frolic on the beach. We've been gone for about 4 hours now, frolicking.
And skinny dipping in the nasty pool.
Oh my God, the pool scene. So, I think my biggest thing in the pool scene,
I want to hear this. So
my
bad.
biggest that I haven't mentioned to you at all.
I know, that's why I want to hear this.
So, apart from all the insane shit that just like straight up couldn't happen, which is most of the pool scene and all the murders and everything. Apparently, I think when we're supposed to think Big Ed got in the pool, there's a shadow in the back of the
I missed
greenhouse
completely.
covered pool
Tent.
that is getting fumigated, but like also they're growing plants and have a pool with too much chlorine in it, but like it's not bothering anybody. But anyway, so like the scene that I think is supposed to let you know that Big Ed is getting in the pool, there's a shadow that's jumping, that is a child, that is clearly the child from the special features in the beginning of the movie. It's not an adult. It's a small child.
I missed the shadow completely.
I know, and I think everybody does. But if you go watch it again, that is the shadow of a child, not a grown man, that is jumping in the background, that I think turns into, or maybe Big Ed's a shapeshifter. Nothing ever says he's not a shapeshifter.
Oh, you've watched way too much What We Do in Shadows in the last 24 hours.
Oh yeah, that's a thing. But like, it's not an Airbnb. That's a fucking child shadow jumping in the background that I think we're supposed to think is Big
How
Ed getting into the pool.
Is Big Ed so quiet through this entire movie?
Oh, he lets you know. Oh, no, the cop does. No. Who
Big
does?
Ed is so quiet.
One of the-
Through this entire... He is the sneakiest motherfucker. And I don't know how he's so quiet.
It is addressed.
I missed that.
They're on the beach, and the cop shows up. And the cop shows up out of nowhere, and the one guy turns and says, "How did you sneak up
Practice.
on us with all of that hardware?" And he says, practice. Next scene, that is like 45 seconds later, Big Ed sneaks up on the cop with all that hardware because of his practice. Also, when is Ed practicing this stuff?
He's a trophy hunter.
Oh, the mask. There's.
Oh
they
gosh,
they go to the trophy room. So I think the biggest thing, the mask that they harp on from beginning to end of the entire movie,
has nothing to do with the movie.
Has nothing to do with anything at all. Nothing. Like, it couldn't mean less at all. But the thing that I also didn't say, so that I could say when we were recording, was the first time they showed the mask, they're like, oh my God, who's this guy that's dying? That they don't really show the photograph, but they're like, oh yeah, my dad ran over somebody in a speedboat and killed him.
Was that a human or an animal?
No, it was a human. It was some dude that he ran over in a speedboat and he killed him, and he put a picture of it up in his trophy room.
I didn't know it was a human he ran over with the speed.
So the mask. That mask that means nothing. That mask that means nothing. That they focus so much on in the whole movie, right?
They sacrifice virgins.
Right, but no one.
Oh wait, the virgins are the only one who
yeah.
lives.
Yeah, so like that doesn't even make sense. So my whole thing here is so the first time they show that mask, it's on the wall.
Yes.
And then they cut to the dad sleeping in the basement, who's just, or it's not even a basement, it's the garage on the first floor. I don't know. So they show the dad, Big Ed is just weirdly sleeping
with a battle axe
in the garage with the battle axe that's missing off the wall and stuff. And then they cut back, and the mask is in the middle of the floor.
I missed that completely.
Right. The mask is in the middle of the floor, and like they're all still talking about the mask and pick the mask back up and put it back on the wall. But no one mentions anything about why that mask is in the floor and not still on the wall. They just pick it up and put it back on the wall and continue to talk about it. So there is definitely a missing scene there. We pride ourselves on watching special features.
Yes, we do. That's also, what we do.
We're not that proud of ourselves and don't do it as much as we're supposed to, but that's what we're supposed to do. But we don't. So we haven't watched the 16 commentaries and the other 9 hours of special features.
We watched a lot of the special features on this movie.
We did, which was 99% just people doing the scene in the gas station that interrupts the credits.
Yeah.
Which doesn't make any sense and didn't do anything or need to be there. It doesn't come back. It doesn't have a point. It doesn't have a purpose.
I want to talk about the kills in this movie. We have not talked about a single kill.
I don't think a kill has happened other than the mom.
No. No. We talked about the pool.
No one's died.
The pool.
No, but that's later. We are way before that actually happening.
They die in the pool before Blind Man's Bluff. Yes.
Deb, I say in my
They
notes,
are skinny dipping in the pool and night frolicking.
A gaff is a giant fishing hook, which is when they first walk into the room with everyone just arriving. And I've only got like 4 more lines after that.
Okay, so I have in my notes, pardon us.
You got like 8 pages of notes. I only have 1 page.
Well, that's my breakdown for. I got 2 pages of movie notes.
I like that podcast. That's the sound of paper.
They are nighttime frolicking on the beach, and it's daytime in the condo, and they're playing Monopoly. And they're skinny dipping in the pool, and some more night frolicking. And there's chlorine. We talked about the chlorine in the pool. Too much chlorine.
Little kid shadow that is apparently
yes, that's where we are. Oh my gosh, the little kid shadow.
Adult. But that's after.
I don't know how they didn't hear him get in the pool, but whatever.
Well, they couldn't have not heard him. They couldn't. They were above the water, and like there was the little kid shadow that they showed. But like they also couldn't have not seen the little kid running around that had nothing to do with anything. I think maybe that was supposed to be a red herring. So you think maybe a kid's killing him? But like also, I don't know. I bet Buddy Cooper would be like,
I don't know.
no, it was a red herring. So you think that maybe a little kid is just jumping around outside and has nothing to do with anything. But like, I don't know.
So they didn't hear dude get in the pool, and they didn't see him in the pool. They're naked in the pool.
Naked.
Just naked. And I get it. It's full of chlorine. They can't see. But did dude not breathe for those 10 minutes?
Hey, Deb, let's not forget the fact that Big Ed is naked as they are for no apparent reason. So he gets booty butt naked.
Booty butt naked.
Silently slides into a pool with no other sounds happening anywhere on the earth. So maybe that's why he's naked? Because he's like, these pants are going to make too much noise. When Big Ed drags her out of the pool.
He is naked.
Butt naked.
Butt naked. Those are.
Also has no clothes on. Which led to my first super weirdness, apart from just like, bad directing choices. So dude gets out of the pool and he's like, oh, here's some pants. And like puts on pants, but he's not like, oh, here's my pants.
He just puts on pants.
It seems that, I think it's pants, right? Or is it a shirt? Whatever it is that he puts on. It makes no sense, and he doesn't recognize that it's his own clothes. He's just like, oh, I just found this pair of pants that's exactly my size, and I'm going to put them on for no reason.
Big Ed, the first kill, Big Ed drowns the girl and puts her on the hook. And it's kind of just like, meh.
First person on the hook, yeah.
And he steals the clothes and leads dudes on the wild goose chase.
Also, Big Ed is real strong.
And then,
if you tried to put a human skull onto a hook, you wouldn't do it first try as a regular human. Also, there's some weird time dilation here where, like, this whole thing happens, but also the rest of the movie happens before this even actually happens. So he like kills her and hangs her in the thing, but he doesn't hang him until like way later.
No, he has
so like
him.
I think he also is teleporting and doing multiple things, killing multiple people at the same time. If the the following of this movie is to be believed. Love you, Buddy Cooper.
This movie is a wild ride that I love.
Yeah, no, it's the wildest, most insane ride ever. Oh, here's the thing. So when they're in the trophy room, there's the shark.
Yes, the shark.
There's the shark Jaws, and he's all like, oh, I don't remember what he says. It's stupid and doesn't really matter. But, like, it's Jaws foreshadowing, and the dude even says, bum, 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 bum,
yes.
bum, bum, which isn't the Jaws movie. And when they're in the water at the pool, weird scene that makes absolutely no sense, they do the music. And while he kills her, the music is going, bum, 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 bum. It's not doing... No, it's... Bum bum, bum bum.
It is.
Because he's a killer shark, and Buddy was like, we're gonna do a Jaws scene. And this is the Mutilator Jaws scene, because foreshadowing for days, everything.
Oh, there is so much foreshadowing in this movie.
Everything is
everything from the little arrowhead in the wall to the hook.
Oh yeah,
This is nothing. This movie is nothing but foreshadowing.
That isn't done right. That's not how you do foreshadowing. Nothing in this movie is ever for 1 second how you do foreshadowing. Love you, Buddy Cooper. And I love this movie. And I love that about this movie. That like, and maybe it's on purpose because it's supposed to be an 80s sitcom, which maybe His
I think
intention
that's
was for the
lost
whole
on
thing
everybody, and
was
like,
just to be an 80s sitcom, but
this
also a
movie
slasher movie.
is a pure camp, and I think it was intentional camp. I could be wrong. I've never talked to Buddy Cooper about it, but everything about this movie screams that it's supposed to be pure camp.
Camp is always lost on me on horror movies. I thought Cemetery Man was the most serious movie I've ever seen in my life. I thought American Werewolf in London was the most serious movie I've ever seen in my life. And then I saw that they were, years after seeing them for the first time, saw that they were dark comedies and then watched them again. And I was like, you know what? No, go fuck yourself. This isn't funny. It just wasn't filmed that well.
Now, I think this movie was actually supposed to be camp, and I could be totally wrong. Also, the effects in this movie were kind of pretty well done.
So that's the thing. Well, no, I think most of the gore effects are actually. It's the same thing with the acting is like wildly good.
Wow.
The actual gore effects are like also like wildly good.
Yeah, no, the gore in this movie is pretty good. There's some inconsistencies, but like
The chainsaw, maybe weed eater,
it's
maybe.
not. No, it's a boat motor.
Oh, is it?
It's the ski boat motor.
Is it?
Yes.
It's the ski boat motor that may
Yes.
have killed. I didn't.
Yes.
Lost on me. Completely lost. I thought it was a chainsaw, and then I was like, that's not what a chainsaw looks like. I think it's a weed eater.
I thought it was a chainsaw as well, and then I watched a bunch of videos, and I was like, "Oh no, that is the ski boat motor that he ran over the kid with."
I hear you, and that makes perfect sense.
Because when they walk into the garage, he's like, "Do you think this is the one he killed that guy with?"
Yeah, no.
And
Foreshadowing. Foreshadowing.
Yeah, no, it's heavy on the foreshadowing. And no, I thought it was a chainsaw. And it ends with that scene, which
I've watched that movie multiple times at this point. I've always been like, it seems to have supposed to have been a chainsaw, but I'm pretty sure it's a weed eater. I never even considered that it was the foreshadowing of the motorboat motor.
It is the ski boat motor. It is the ski boat
definitely
motor.
Because that's the guy that's like, that's not even a big enough motor to kill someone. And then like dad's asleep in the basement and couldn't hurt him say that, but gets his revenge and whatever. Everything in this movie you just have to take with a grain of salt and be like, yeah, that's whatever. That's it.
But the effects are the gore.
Scary ass fishing pants. There's so many scary things that happen in this movie constantly. No one is terrified except for when it involves those fishing pants. Those fishing pants get near anyone and they are terrified. If I walk into somebody's garage and there's a pair of fishing pants on the back of the door, it's not going to freak me out and be like, yeah, we live at the beach. They have fishing pants. It's not going to scare me. What's going to scare me is that mask that was on the wall now isn't on the wall, and the picture of a person dying. And, just infinite things would scare me that wouldn't be those fishing pants that terrify everyone.
This movie, I'm looking at things and I'm like, from kill 1
to
kill 6 is fast. It's like the last 30 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, well, that's why I have a whole page of notes up to this point, and everything after this point is like super slow. It's just like kill after kill, and that's always my thing and why I don't like doing breakdowns of movies and stuff is like all movies are like that. It's like movie, act 3, action.
Once the kills start, the first 2 kills are very slow.
There's always so much to talk about in the first 2 acts of a movie, and act 3 is always just like, there's nothing to talk about.
But it's also great. The gore is done well.
I think maybe what starts Act 3 that I just quit taking notes on because there's nothing to really talk about other than the hook in the vagina. There's the yakety sax sex scene. just for no reason. Like they're about to have sex, and oh no, this is like way earlier. This is
Yeah,
way
no,
earlier.
it's insane. The timeline.
Where they like speed it up, and like it's not the song Yakety Sax, but it might as well be, and he does the little vaudevillian thing.
Oh, I have that silly little vaudeville scene.
Yeah, the silly little vaudeville
Which
scene
I
that
also
doesn't
said-
fit in with anything.
So-
Why is that there?
Okay, so I think what this movie tries to do is play between lighthearted and scary. They do it through the whole thing. And that's why I think it's supposed to be camp. I don't think this is supposed to be a slasher film. It's a slasher, but it's also supposed to be camp because there is the little vaudeville scene with the tip of his hat. There is the break in the middle of the credits. There is the 80s sitcom music in a slasher
I didn't
film,
even said
and he
that.
is constantly, Buddy Cooper is constantly playing between really dark and really funny, and that is what I love about this movie.
I wanted to say so much earlier. When the times that there is spooky slasher music, I don't think I've ever heard anything go harder. It is the best.
Oh, it is.
The bass is just like.
No, this.
It is that dude. That's the same dude that made the song "Fall Break." Amazing musician.
Yes.
So a lot of the music in this movie doesn't fit or make sense for this movie, but none of it isn't just amazing.
I think
The scary I don't think there's better scary music that's ever been made for any movie ever.
and there's not better 80s sitcom music, even in 80s sitcoms. Fall Break is a banger.
Yeah, it's an absolute banger.
I think this movie was lost on a lot of people. It was lost on me. This movie plays between camp and scary like nothing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And it's kind of freaking beautiful.
It's a great movie.
And I think it's supposed to be scary, and I think it's supposed to be camp. And the music shows that, and the vaudeville scene shows that. This movie plays with you. It plays with you in a way you don't expect, so you don't see it the first or second time you watch it.
But did Buddy expect the movie to play with him the way it did? He made it and wrote it.
I think he did, and I think it was lost. I think it was lost on people.
Or maybe it's not, and that's why it's such a cult classic that everyone loves, is that it's only
It
lost on
can
me.
it
That's
cannot
possible.
be not intentional. How silly it is in some points and how scary it is in some points. There is gore in this that's good gore, and
It's great.
there is silliness in this that is great
Oh,
silliness.
When he's hacking him up with the not chainsaw, not weed eater that I still
Boat
can't think
motor.
is a weed
It was a
eater,
boat motor.
Like his fingers had been cut off and stuff.
Yes.
They're hanging there, like it's good. Like if that was in a movie like that came out today, everyone would be like, "Oh no, that was a great gore scene." Like, you know, not 100% of it, but like when he's chopping him up and stuff, and he's like, they show him with the fingers missing
Yeah.
and his chest off for that split second when you can't look long enough to like pick it apart. It's amazing.
This movie plays with you a lot. And even so, the way Big Ed laughs when he's making a kill, it's silly, but it's also scary. I think it was intentional.
I'm not sure. I would love to ask Buddy Cooper, and if I ever get the pleasure to meet him again.
Big Ed is in half at the end, laughing hysterically, killing the police officer.
So that's my next thing right here. Like there's like I don't even know if the vagina hook.
The vagina hook.
Vagina hook. That's wild. She just lets him put her on the table and just lets it all happen and doesn't really struggle or even attempt to stop him in the slightest or scream.
No.
Also, we watched the unedited version, and there's edited versions where I think the vag hook portion isn't as graphic,
Yeah, no.
but I think it's still like she's just like, yeah, put me on the table, and then he puts a the gaff, the big fishing gaff hook into her vagina up through her stomach, and she's just like, yeah, whatever.
I think
I'm not
this
gonna
movie.
scream. No one's covering my mouth. I'm not gonna make a sound. What?
I think this movie is way smarter than anybody thinks it is.
I think I'm old enough now that I have a lot of dark comedies have blown past me that they were supposed to be comedies, but now I'm older and I understand things better. And like, I think you're right. I think if this movie was said that it's a dark comedy, I would see it as a totally different way, and it might be the darkest, best comedy ever.
I think it was all intentional. I think this movie is a dark comedy, and I could be completely off base.
I don't think you are. I think
But
you're completely
everything
wrong
in this movie, you can't have that good of gore and that serious of it and have a silly vaudeville scene in the middle of it and it not be. And the way Ed laughs when he makes a kill and him being cut in half at the end and still killing the police officer.
So I think that's also great.
This movie is a comedy.
So we're at the end, and when Ed gets cut in half with the car, and the actual cutting in half with the car is Tom Savini. I love you, Tom. I love you with all my heart and soul. You stole my shirt. I love you, Tom Savini, with all of my heart and soul. I mean that. I couldn't mean that more. I think that Big Ed getting cut in half with the car, the actual cutting in half, is better than anything Tom Savini ever did.
No,
It looks so fucking good. And then immediately, it's just Big Ed covered in sand up to his waist and some mannequin legs laying next to him.
And he's laughing.
While he
think
kills someone else.
this movie is a dark comedy. I talked in our podcast about Scream about me not realizing it was a dark comedy. I still won't.
Yeah.
I still don't consider it a dark comedy.
I don't think it is.
This movie, I think, went over people's head. I think Buddy Cooper was ahead of his time in this movie. And I'm going to die on that hill.
So I think if it was presented as just a comedy, it might have been one of the biggest movies ever made in the history of mankind.
Yeah. No, this movie is great. The gore is great. The story is a good story. There are some script issues. Cool. But
Or is there? Or is it just a comedy? And like Buddy had been watching a bunch of slasher movies and was like, I want to make a comedy. I don't know.
And no. Which is also could be why in the movie they have the Mutilator title card. They put the Fall Break title card.
Which, okay, yeah, so is that also comedy?
Yes.
That is kind of great and funny.
I think it's intentional. And like I said, Dana, I could just be wrong. I don't think this was supposed to be a serious movie. This was a comedy.
To not offend Buddy Cooper, the next time we see him, or I talk to him, or I get an actual chance to talk to him again, that's the question I want to ask him. Because everything is like, I feel like you can't just like not walk on eggshells talking to Buddy Cooper, other than just, I love your movie, and it's terrible, and I love it. But that's the question.
It was supposed to be.
That's the question.
Yeah.
The answer's everything. Buddy, there is a opening sequence that says the Mutilator. Why did you choose to go with the opening sequence saying not the name of the movie? And I think his answer will answer everything. He's either going to be like, because that shit was funny, and then bam, greatest movie ever made in the history of mankind, or he's going to be like, oh, which is probably what's really going to happen. He's just going to be like, oh, there were legal reasons, and like, I never really considered everything being intentional until tonight.
Same. We
right
started talking about this, and I'm like, oh.
I think it's everyone loving this movie, even though it's got so many flaws.
No, this isn't a shitty movie. This isn't a shittily done movie.
No, it is, though.
It isn't.
But
the gore is beautiful. The story is good. The script writing
is amazing.
The acting.
The music is like the most banging music.
Everything is
It's like John Carpenter. John Carpenter could not have made the song Fall Break and then been like, boom, 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 boom,
And I think that is the
later.
biggest hint to it being a horror comedy is in the opening credits.
And the ending sequence, which is literally just, it's like Cheers. It's like
Yes.
the Cheers opening credits is the ending credits, where it's just
This
like
is a
everybody
horror
like,
comedy.
It's like everybody laughing and smiling at the camera, and they
Yes.
say their name.
Yes, no, this is a horror comedy that went over everybody's heads. It was ahead of its time, and Buddy Cooper is a genius.
Yeah, maybe.
Hands down, that is what I am going with.
Super cool dude. Yeah, well, I didn't until tonight, and you have convinced me. You have convinced me that maybe this is just a great comedy movie with a couple of good gore scenes.
All the signs for it being intentional are there. And I'm going to stick to that until Buddy Cooper tells me otherwise. Also, you should tell us what you think if you've seen this movie.
Yeah, tell us what you think, our two listeners.
And if you haven't seen this movie, go watch it.
Thank you for joining us on a Horror Madness with Deb and Dana. Night, motherfuckers, I love you.